Hello everyone and welcome to the next video podcast coming from figuredrawingonline.com. This time we will be talking about the lower arm. Now in terms of the lower arm we have two bones, which is the ulna and the radius, and they kind of have split jobs. The radius, the job of, let's start with the ulna. The job of the ulna is flexion and extension, or bending and extending the arm, and the job of the radius is actually to hold the hand. Now I'm going to draw the hand in an anterior view, and I'm going to put in a little bit more than just the lower arm, and the reason for that is that the upper arm, lower arm and the hand are so closely knit, so closely connected that in order to talk about the one actually has to talk about the other. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to I'm just doing an outline of the hand, of the arm, upper arm and the lower arm. So I can put in that's the palm there. Not worry about the hand at this stage. Alright, so essentially in terms of bones we have the humerus bone that looks something like that. Comes down to the edge and goes all the way up somewhere about there. Where with its round form it fits into the scapula, which is roughly about there. There's an acromion process of the scapula. In front of it, of course, is the clavicle that comes down something like that. And the scapula itself comes down to somewhere about there. So we already know this, and I took you through this in the previous video podcasts that were talking about the upper arm and the shoulder girdle. Now for the lower arm, it's connected to the upper arm, to the humerus, by, like I said, first the ulna comes down to about there, and the ulna is the one that is stronger at the upper end and then becomes quite narrow in the lower end. The reason for that is that it provides the hinge for the humerus, and like we said earlier, this relationship is responsible for extension and flexion. So this part of the bony structure needs to be really strong up here. Now next to it is the radius, which is quite slim at the top, but then it becomes quite wide as it descends, and the reason for that is that it looks after, it provides a connection with the hand, with all these tiny bones that are down here, which we'll be talking about next time. So that would be for the bones. Now in terms of the muscles, I will just quickly redraw the same view again, so I can give you a little bit of an overview of the muscles in this particular view. Go up here and something like that, roughly. Okay, so what we have what we have right here on the top is the deltoideus that has fibers running up. From there somewhere we have the pectoralis major connected to this part of the pectoralis major is inserted into the humerus bone, so it kind of tucks in there. Now in the front we have the biceps that narrows down into a tendon and comes up to about there. on the side here, the medial head of the triceps kind of just peeks out a little bit, and now the biceps kind of narrows down and is inserted in there, but also has this aponeurotic extension that is attached just there, and that will create a bit of a furrow, as we will see a little bit later. Now on the other hand, I should say on the other side, there's a muscle called pronator teres, and it runs just about there. Now the lower arm actually provides 3 types of movements, actually 4 types of movements to the hand, and that is flexion and extension, and rotation of the hand, which is supination and pronation. Now, it makes sense that in terms of simplifying all the many muscles into muscle groups, we would talk about flexors, which look after flexion, extensors, which look after extending, and the muscles for rotation are the supinators and pronators. Now, as I said earlier, here we have the pronator teres. Now, the pronator looks after the pronation, which is palm down of the hand. The rotation rotating up is supination. So supination, pronation. Now pronator teres looks after the pronation. Now in front of all this we have quite a large muscle called brachioradialis, which comes down, takes up quite a lot of space, and then narrows down into a tendon coming down there. Now the brachioradialis together with extensor carpi radialis longus, which just peaks just in there, these 2 muscles are responsible for rotating, for supination of the hand. So you have the pronator there and the supinator group. We're talking about groups here to simplify matters. Now at the other side, on the inside, we have the flexors. So I'm going to just put here a few divisions, but otherwise this is going to be the flexor group. These usually become all of them, not usually, but all of them become tendons as they descend towards the hand, and they can be easily seen in a particular motion. So if I was to do, and I'm going to do the same thing again now, and the reason why I'm redrawing this is to actually talk to you about plane breaks, because there's a rhythmic kind of a play that takes part in and assists us in terms of figuring out where to put our shading. Now, what happens really is on front of the elbow, which is that's the elbow. In front of the elbow, the biceps narrows down into this triangular shape, which can often, what happens is that becomes a kind of a plane break just there in the middle. So it lies essentially this triangle of the biceps, which is here, lies between the pronator and the supinator mass. The supinator mass, namely brachioradialis, which is this guy here, and on the outside is the pronator teres on the inside. The pronator teres is slightly depressed because of the aponeurotic extension of the biceps. So to put it in, I would create for the plane breaks. This of course suggests the pronator teres, but it would also have this slight depression running through it because of the aponeurotic extension of the biceps. What follows after that, pretty much this same aponeurotic extension will have an effect on the tendons and the muscles of the flexor group, which runs just down that side. So essentially why I'm doing this and why I'm showing you all this is in terms of shading, we need to know where the muscles are, what are they function, what are they doing, what are their shapes. So we can create, so we can come up with these shapes. Now obviously we have to dismiss the many lights that are in the studio, and we have to work with we have to create our own light, and we're talking about one dominant source of light and one reflected light, and that will allow us to actually create the three-dimensional effect on our two-dimensional pads. So in this case I'm using a dominant light coming from the left and above, and a reflected light coming from the below and from the right. And that's really how we can get the shape of things, which is knowing what the particular muscle looks like, knowing where it is positioned, what the shape is, and then being able to throw a bit of light on it in order to describe it on the drawing pad. So that's just in a very quick summary of the lower arm. Of course there's much more to know, and you can get all that extra information from www.figuredrawingonline.com, where you can buy the lecture on the lower arm. Thank you very much for watching, and hope you enjoyed this video podcast coming from figuredrawingonline.com, and I'll see you with the next one on the hand.